You wake up to pounding on the apartment door. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 more. Not police. Too controlled. Too patient. Your eyes open instantly, but the rest of your body stays still beneath the damp blanket. The ceiling fan above you turns with a slow mechanical wobble, clicking every few seconds like a timer counting down. The room smells of mildew, cigarette smoke, and old cooking oil drifting up from the restaurant downstairs. Neon from the liquor store outside cuts through the cracked blinds in thin red lines that stretch across the stained walls. Another sound outside, a motorcycle engine revving through rainwater before fading into the distance. The knocks stop. Silence is worse. Your hand slides beneath the mattress toward the pistol taped under the bed frame. The metal feels cold against your fingertips. You wait exactly 30 seconds before moving. Training, routine, survival. Your breathing stays measured even as sweat gathers behind your neck. You have lived under 6 names in the last 3 years. None of them belong to you anymore. The apartment is on the 4th floor of a building nobody repairs. The elevator stopped working 8 months ago. Pipes hammer behind the walls all night long. Roaches gather near the sink whenever the rain starts. It is the kind of place nobody remembers and nobody questions. Perfect for someone like you. You move quietly toward the kitchen counter where 3 burner phones sit beside a chipped coffee mug. 1 phone is dead. 1 has no messages. The 3rd blinks once. A missed signal. Your stomach tightens instantly. No communication was scheduled tonight. You check the peephole carefully. Empty hallway. Still, you know better than to trust empty hallways. 3 years ago, before all this, you sat inside a government building with no windows. Gray concrete walls, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, a ventilation system that smelled faintly of bleach and dust, no speeches, no flags, no promises, just paperwork. Psychological evaluations lasted 11 hours at a time, polygraph tests, medical screenings, financial audits, interviews designed to exhaust you until your answers became instinct instead of performance. At the end, a man with tired eyes slid a thin folder across the metal table. "If you disappear in there," he said, "nobody's coming for you." His tone never changed, not a threat, not encouragement, policy. You signed anyway. The next 6 months erased you piece by piece. Your apartment lease terminated, bank accounts frozen, social media deleted, university records sealed behind classified access restrictions. Even your handwriting changed. The instructors called it behavioral integration, new posture, new accent, new slang, new political opinions, new habits. They timed how long you looked at strangers, measured how quickly you reacted to insults, tested how convincingly. You could lie while your pulse remained under 80 beats per minute. Every failure meant repetition. Every hesitation meant observation. By the end, they handed you a passport under a different name and taught you how to disappear inside crowded places. The trafficking network noticed useful people, so you became useful. At first, your jobs were small, driving shipments between warehouses, waiting in parking lots for handoffs, watching doors during meetings that lasted hours. Nobody trusted you enough to speak freely around you yet. You earned $1,200 a week plus cash bonuses, enough to survive, not enough to matter. The first lesson came quickly. Invisible workers live longer. You learned not to ask questions when vans returned lighter than expected, not to react when someone stopped showing up, not to stare at bruises, not to remember faces. The organization studied silence more carefully than loyalty. Every morning started before sunrise. You woke at 4:30 a.m., automatically now. No alarms necessary anymore. You checked burner phones first, then windows, then hallway noise, then exits. Always exits. You memorized license plates during breakfast, changed walking routes every day, counted surveillance cameras automatically, noticed reflections in store windows, identified potential weapons inside ordinary rooms without consciously trying. Restaurants became threat maps. Train stations became choke points. Crowds became concealment. You stopped sitting with your back exposed in public after the first year. Sleep changed too. At first you dreamed constantly. Gunshots, footsteps, running through hallways that never ended. Then eventually the dreams disappeared entirely. Your body learned exhaustion without rest. The organization promoted people slowly, never dramatically. Advancement happened through repetition and endurance. 1 month became 6. 6 months became 2 years. You transported cash first, then weapons, then information. The higher you climbed, the quieter everyone became around you. Men at the top rarely shouted. They rarely threatened anyone directly either. Violence traveled downward through layers like paperwork, moving through departments. Orders reached expendable people last, people like you. One winter morning, you spent 7 hours inside a refrigerated storage facility guarding shipments while temperatures stayed at 4 degrees Celsius. Your fingers lost feeling halfway through the shift. Nobody complained. Complaining suggested weakness. Weakness attracted attention. Attention killed people. The network tested loyalty constantly. Small things first. Hold this package overnight. Threaten this witness. Follow this debtor home. Dispose of this phone. They watched hesitation more carefully than success. One man failed a loyalty test by asking too many questions about a missing courier. 2 days later, his apartment was empty. Nobody mentioned him again. You understood the rule immediately. Curiosity was suspicious. Efficiency was rewarded. Humanity was inconvenient. Your handler met you once every 3 months in carefully selected public places, shopping malls, train stations, crowded food courts where conversations dissolved into background noise. He never stayed longer than 7 minutes. Keep advancing, he told you once while pretending to read a newspaper. You're getting close. Close to what? He never specified. You stopped asking. The deeper you entered the organization, the more procedural the cruelty became. Numbers, percentages, inventory lists. People discussed disappearances the same way office workers discuss delayed shipments, calmly, practically, without emotion. A warehouse supervisor once explained profit margins while blood dried across his sleeve. Nobody reacted. Not reacting became survival. Your real identity started slipping around the edges after the second year. You answered automatically to your cover name now. Your original accent sounded strange whenever you heard recordings from training archives. Sometimes you caught yourself inventing memories that belonged to the person you were pretending to be. The agency warned you about identity drift during preparation. Long-term immersion reshapes behavior, the psychologist explained clinically. Your brain prioritizes survival over consistency. At the time, it sounded theoretical. Now it felt permanent. Relationships outside the operation dissolved quietly. Your mother stopped calling after too many unanswered messages. Old friends eventually stopped sending updates. Birthdays passed unnoticed. Holidays became dates you only recognized because stores changed decorations. You spent your 29th birthday sitting alone inside a laundromat at 2 a.m., waiting for a dead drop hidden behind a detergent machine. No cake. No celebration, just fluorescent lights humming overhead while rainwater leaked through the ceiling tiles. The organization trusted you more after that year. Trust meant proximity to risk. You started attending higher-level meetings in warehouses near the docks where shipping containers towered like steel buildings under floodlights. Men with expensive watches discussed routes and percentages while armed guards paced between crates. Nobody used real names. Nobody carried personal phones. Every conversation assumed betrayal eventually. One lieutenant explained the structure during a cigarette break. The people at the top stay clean, he said. That's how systems survive. He pointed toward workers unloading trucks in the rain. If police come, those guys disappear first, then us, then the next layer. And the top? You asked carefully. He laughed once. The top never exists on paper. The operation expanded constantly. New ports, new accounts, new routes crossing borders hidden beneath legitimate shipping manifests. Millions moved through shell companies every month. Bribes traveled through accountants and lawyers who never touched the actual product themselves. The system operated like machinery, precise, cold, replaceable. Then the crisis arrived without warning. Midnight near the docks. Rain hammering rusted shipping containers hard enough to drown conversation. You noticed the extra vehicle immediately. Black SUV parked near the warehouse entrance, engine still running. Nobody mentioned additional security beforehand. Your instincts tightened instantly. Inside the warehouse, 7 men stood too quietly beside stacked cargo pallets. Conversation stopped the moment you entered. Nobody smiled. Nobody moved naturally. Something was wrong. Your hidden earpiece crackled once. Then your handler's voice cut through static. Compromised. The signal died immediately afterward. The word detonated inside your skull. Somewhere tonight, another undercover operative wakes inside another rotting apartment after hearing 3 knocks at the door. Pause. 2 more. And somewhere far above them, hidden behind concrete offices and classified archives, administrators update files beneath fluorescent lights while the machinery keeps moving forward without hesitation. Cold, efficient, endless.